Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and in this video, I'm going to share with you what we know so far about the social type number 2s or the generalists. In this video, you're going to learn the traits and behaviors of the social type number 2s, their saviors and demons, their crosschecks and life pile, their pitfalls, their strengths, their cognitive dissonance, social type number 2 from the community, good number 2s versus bad number 2s, not gaining true independence as a number 2, what bothers me about social type number 2s, the social type number 2's growth path, and the conclusion. First, we're going to cover the social type number 2's traits and behaviors. The number one thing that the social type number 2 wants the most is to seek and gain independence. They are obsessed with taking responsibility because deep down inside, the social type number 2s know that if they can do everything, that they don't need anybody. They tend to be the jack of all trades and master of none. Many number 2s are interested in entrepreneurship because entrepreneurship is the biggest form of independence, and if you own your own business, then you are in control of your fate. Management is also attractive just because number 2s have trouble specializing and they can manage people and do the jack of all trades thing by helping every department as opposed to honing and focusing on just one area. They're also obsessed with working for work's sake, which is actually a weakness of theirs. And social type number 2 feels very introvert thinking and extrovert feeling access because internally they are obsessed with work but will also want to have genuine friendships and relationships. So after working, they will celebrate with real friends and real family members. The social type number 2s are very results oriented and they tend to have a hero syndrome as a result of their savior friends. They're motivated by negative reinforcement, and social type number 2 is tied to the consume animal. Next, we're going to cover the social type number 2 saviors and demons. The first savior of social type number 2 is obviously number 2, which is seeking to gain independence. They want to be responsible, tend to be jack of all trades but master of none, interested in entrepreneurship or management, and are very results oriented. Their second savior is social type number 4, which is seeking friendships and relationships. They move and care for others, have genuine connections, and have a strong focus on family and togetherness. Their minor demon is social type number 1, which is to seek and gain status, to flex through showing off or bragging, to win, to achieve, to be the best, have a big ego, and have identity goals. And their major demon is social type number 3, which is seeking to specialize in one area, focus on routine, work-life balance, and to be the best at a specific role or niche. Because social type number 2 has demon specialization, one of their fantasies is actually to either be in management or to be an entrepreneur and have a bunch of specialists work for them and take care of every department in their business or area that they manage. Here are some cross-checks for social type number 2. First, social type number 2s need to examine their life pile to see what they've actually done. And it's not what you want, but what actually is. So if you are obsessed with work, have had multiple jobs in completely different fields, continue to work even after getting off work, very interested in entrepreneurship, and potentially have started a business or two already, if not 3 businesses, they have trouble focusing on one thing and tend to do a bunch of different things at the same time. Just like the social type number 4, they have a tendency not to put a huge focus on their image and appearance until they're older when their minor demon flex finally kicks in. They tend not to accept or dislike or feel comfortable getting free money or gifts from others unless it's on special occasions like Christmas or birthdays, because gifts are seen as leverage being put over them and now they feel like they owe someone, which takes away their independence. One of the weaker cross-checks for the social type number 2 is the love language of acts of service, and social type number 2s might like acts of service because they feel overwhelmed trying to specialize in one area. So if they have a bunch of people helping them really go deep in the areas that they're having difficulty with, then it will alleviate that feeling of overwhelmed. So they feel really happy and thankful to that person that helped them alleviate that problem. And it's also because that social type number 2s are like chess masters and they see the specialists as chess pieces that they move around and eventually help them achieve a specific goal or vision. The second weaker cross-check for social type number 2s is their second love language, which is quality time, and they really care about building genuine connections with friends and family members because they know that at the end of your life, the most important thing is your friendships and relationships. So there's no point striving to be at the top and have nobody love and care for you at the finish line. What are the pitfalls for the social type number 2s? The first pitfall is doing too many different things and tasks that they lose focus on the most important thing. They have a very hard time specializing. They overwhelm themselves by taking on too much instead of focusing on a few tasks. They feel attached or hold on to old friendships that no longer serves them and could drag them down, preventing them to achieve much greater things in life. Now, usually social type number 2s are a little bit more picky with friendships than number 4s, but if they made those friendships when they were young and now they're in their life, they just have a lot of trouble letting those go. They have a tendency to hide behind the tribe as a result of that savior friends, and they also have a tendency to get really close to the top but never actually getting there and playing second fiddle to the number 1s. What are the strengths of the social type number 2? Well, their first strength is that they are a very helpful friend that takes charge of situations to make sure everyone's needs is taken care of. They have a hero syndrome that makes them want to help others and save them from their calamity. They also have a high endurance towards managing people and moving specialist pieces around like chess to work towards a vision. And they are relentless at achieving achieving independence. What are some cognitive dissonance for social type number 2? Well, social type number 2 is correlated with a consumed animal. So if you're someone with double activated blast or have savior blast, you will feel some cognitive dissonance because you're doing specialization type of work when you really want to be a manager or an entrepreneur. Next, we're going to cover social type number 2s from the community. And we're going to start with Ian, who is officially typed as an ESTP jumper, SEFE, play, consume, sleep, blast, double feminine, social type number 2. And in this video, you're gonna see Ian, who is actually a straight flush social type number 2 because his animals line up perfectly with his social type. However, the funny thing about Ian is that he was doing specialist type of work even though he is blast last and he is a number 2. But as you can see in this interview that we did, he did get out of being in that specialist role, and now he is living the life of a number 2 who is dealing more with management. But actually, it's good that he did the specialist work at first because at least he knows how to do it and he can do a better job being a number 2 now that he has that specialist experience under his belt.
You're blast last and you have specialization last. That means you can't focus on one thing to like get really good at. But you're working as a freaking accountant, which is like really weird. You would think accounting is more like SI, right? You know?
It's definitely SI, bro.
So I'm like, how did you end up doing this? Like the most like complete opposite of like what your type would be doing.
I got scammed, man. There was probably some number 2 up there telling me about I can be whatever I want. And he's like, if you like math, you like money. Yeah. So that's not what accounting really is. Accounting is definitely SI and T, right? ST blast, ST sleep. And so I got pulled into it. It was like, and I got locked into, I have masculine NT sleep. So it's like I got pulled into that, and that's what I was going to do. Never thought about it again. And, you know, just went through the school and everything, and then woke up one day and was like, okay, I'm doing it. Then once I kind of got what I was doing and I was like, that's it. Then it was like, okay, now I have to pivot because I felt like I did this, I've earned this degree, I put all this work in. So what do I do with this? And it took a while for me to kind of like last break out of it. But I actually went into different fields with accounting. And now I have, when we talked in 2020, I had just started back at the place I was working when I was a intern. Now I'm a partner there. So I officially became a partner and I'm an owner. So it's less SI. It's, you know, a lot of that I can kind of either put on to other people or, you know, could just totally avoid it and do what I want. Do more oversight consulting type stuff.
Oh, I see. Now you can finally be the number 2. You know?
I can be, yeah.
The next social type 2 in the community is going to be me, and my official type is an ENFP jumper, NETE, play blast, consume sleep, masculine feminine, social type number 2. Now the weird thing about my type and why I feel a cognitive dissonance for the longest time is if you look at my actual stack, it is a straight flush stack for social type number 4. So that's because blast is correlated with specialization and consume is correlated with social type number 2 as a result of collecting different skill sets. So what ended up happening is for over 10 years of my life, I actually work in the fitness industry and I have a very deep knowledge when it comes to coaching people to achieve their goals. For example, one of my greatest achievements in fitness is I got a girl who has never stepped foot in a gym before do a full chin-up within 2 months, and then after the 4th month, she was able to do a full range of motion pull-up. With that being said, because I am a social type number 2 and I don't want to specialize, even though I ended up specializing as a coach for that 10 plus years. While I was working in fitness, I was also teaching spin classes. I was also teaching senior classes as well as a class for those with osteoporosis. I'm technically certified as a yoga instructor, although I do not practice it because I apparently teach my yoga class like a spin class because I'm such a play blast crackhead. It's better for me to practice yoga than to teach yoga. Now, while I was working in fitness those 10 plus years, I really wanted to be an entrepreneur. So during that time, I also ran my own travel blog, which eventually also branched out to a travel YouTube channel. And as you know, I have the personality trainer YouTube channel. And on top of that, I used to be a paid blogger for another blog called Living the Dream RTW. And on top of that, I also worked multiple times for the Canadian election, holding multiple roles. Now, most recently, back in 2022, during the federal election, I was actually promoted to become the Central Poll Supervisor, which in my opinion was the easiest job I've ever done in my life. So basically, I had a staff of 15 individuals who's gonna help with coordinate the public going through the building to cast their vote for the election. I also help those who is recording the ballots and also assisting with my fellow supervisors. And for the first time in my life, when I work as a supervisor, I got a chance to move the pieces around to ensure that the public is well served the entire time. But because I'm a double decider, I also wanted to make sure that the staff was also well rested and make sure that they all got their well-deserved break. I noticed with the other supervisors, especially the ones who weren't thinking about the well-being of the staff, some of their staff members did not go on their allocated breaks, or they themselves did not go on a break, which is horrible because if you don't have the energy to work, then you can't serve the public as well as you could be doing. And on top of that, I also work as a recruiter for a security company, and I also work as a recruiter for a travel nursing company. So as you can see, I've held multiple different jobs within that 10-year time span, and the biggest constant would be the 10 years working in fitness, as well as having the travel blog, which I still have right now, and of course the personality trainer YouTube channel. Next, we're going to talk about good number twos and bad number twos. Now, for the good social type number two, we have Margot Robbie, whose personality type is ESFP jumper, SETE, play, consume, blast, sleep, double feminine, social type number two. And what makes her so good is that even though she's a social type number two, she has specialized as an actress for many years, and she is one of the best actresses out there. At the same time, she can still do the whole social type number two thing, which is producing. And if you watch this next clip of Margot Robbie explaining the process of pitching the movie Barbie, she describes it kind of like Dave and Shan, how they say that social type number twos have a scam. Well, she calls herself a con man when she's describing the role of pitching the movie to the studio.
Does pitching feel like auditioning, or does it feel like something different?
Oh, that's an interesting question. No, because it feels like selling. It feels like I'm a con man or something, like I'm a con artist, like convincing everyone that something insane is actually going to work. I don't know, the funny thing, I'm not good at lying, and people are like, don't you lie for a living? And I'm like, oh, I've never seen acting as that. Like, I feel like acting is making something so incredibly truthful. And like making it sound like the most honest thing that could ever come out of your mouth. That's what acting is to me. So actually, I don't think it's lying. Whereas pitching, I feel like it's not lying either, but it's a lot of promising something you don't actually know.
Now, for the example, for the bad social type number two, we have Joe Biden. And I'm not saying Joe Biden is a bad person. I'm just saying he's a bad social type number two. And I'll explain why. So Joe Biden's personality type is an ESTP, SETI, consume, play, sleep, blast, masculine, feminine, social type number two. And the reason why Joe Biden is a bad social type number two is because he has the hero syndrome, and he was trying to save America from Donald Trump by running for election because there was nobody popular enough to run against Donald Trump. The problem is Joe Biden is just a little bit too old, and if he did the whole president thing 10 to 20 years ago, he might have done a lot better of a job, but now he's just way too old. And what ended up happening is that a lot of negative energy has been created around him, which will probably result in Donald Trump getting re-elected in the next election. So really, what he tried to stop from happening will probably happen anyways. I think at Joe Biden's age, he needs to stop working for the sake of working and to stop trying to be a hero, and he just needs to enjoy the rest of his life. He doesn't need to be working anymore. Next, I'm going to talk about how social type number twos will never get true independence unless they do something about it and change the trajectory of their life. And this is because social type number twos pretty much need work, because work is almost life support to them. And without work, a lot of social type number twos doesn't know what to do. I'm gonna use Alex Hormozy as an example, because in this next clip, you'll see why Alex Hormozy has something called the golden shackles, because he's already a millionaire, but he still keeps working. And there was a video I saw a long time ago of Alex Hormozy pretty much saying he's gonna try to earn $1 billion just because he doesn't know what to do next after earning his millions of dollars. And in this clip, you'll see some of the regrets that he has when he was younger on some of the stuff that he didn't do because he was too preoccupied with working. And he also has some limiting belief about backpacking in Europe, for example, which is something that he said that he regrets not doing, saying that the door has closed and you can't do it when you're over 40 and stay at hostels, which is completely untrue, because as for me, who do travel a lot, I see a lot of older people staying in hostels and still backpacking over the age of 40, way over the age of 65, in fact. So you're never too old to do the stuff that you want to do.
When is it okay to spend money? If there's one thing that I probably could have done better, is I could have spent money on one-time experiences. And what I mean by that is not going to the club and popping bottles. Go to Europe and sleeping in hostels for 3 months. That's a cool experience that you're not going to be able to do when you're 40. You're just not going to do it. So there are times of our lives that are optimal for certain types of experiences, and those windows close. And so if there are experiences that you can only do in your 20s, I wholeheartedly support them, but you want them to be things that when you're 80, you're proud of.
What bothers me about social type number 2s? The biggest thing that bothers me about social type number 2s is the fear that the work will never be done. And it's really crazy if you think about it, how with the social type number 2s, they're working for the sake of working. For me, for example, I'm working because I want freedom and independence. And I don't want to be running in someone else's hamster wheel, so I decided to put myself in my own hamster wheel and grind out work to eventually achieve my goals. The problem is the work never ends. And when I think about retiring one day when I'm a senior, I still think I'm actually going to be working because I don't think I'm the kind of person that can stop working. I think I'm going to be working the rest of my life, even if it's on a part-time basis. So I think what the social type number 2s really need to do is, yes, you can't stop working, but maybe you should have an off season, kind of like how athletes have an off season. So they'll play their sports 7 to 8 months of the year, and then they'll take 4 months off. And I think ultimately that is the perfect balance for the social type number 2s, especially as they get closer to retirement. Obviously, when you're young, you do need to hustle, you do need to work hard, and you do need to be responsible for your career and finances. But after that's secured, I think it's also important to plan for what you're gonna do next outside of just working for work's sake. So what are the growth paths for social type number 2? Well, the first growth path is to get 2 to 4 years of sales and marketing experience from real jobs to help you with your entrepreneurial aspirations, which you need to gain true independence. If you can sell, you'll always stay in business. And the most important growth path for social type number 2s is to learn from the number 3s and let your work speak for itself, so you don't have to do as much sales and marketing. And this can only be done by putting in the effort at your work and really refining the process. You don't have to do this for every area of life, but do pick one area or two that you really want to hone in and become a craftsman like a social type number 3. So in conclusion, social type number 2s are very important because oftentimes they become the manager in many companies, and also a lot of small businesses that end up getting built are built by number 2s. Because number 2s have savior friends, they tend to be that manager that you know is on your side because they have that hero syndrome and they want to make sure that everyone is taken care of. Number 2s genuinely care about other people, and just like number 1s, they could see that you could build relationships for the sake of building status, but number 2s, unlike number 1s, will actually build real relationships with people as opposed to just using people as a stepping stone to move themselves up in life. So if social type number 2s can conquer the difficulty of specializing, then they will do a much better job in their entrepreneurial aspirations because the work will speak for itself, which then will improve their sales. And with sales, they will have what they really want, which is independence or financial independence in this case. Now, there's many forms of independence, so it's not just money related. There's also independence in relationships and being physically fit so that when you're older, you are still independent and you can move around without needing someone's help. So that's about it for what we know so far about social type number 2s. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.